Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studios in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Flora Ani. Our top stories. Federal Capital Territory voter registration devolved to 62 words as INEC ends online pre-registration. Federal government empowers widows, gender-based violence survivors in Benue State. Wike slams 5 million naira penalty on illegal land conversions. On the foreign scene, Palestinian government kills 6 at Jerusalem bus stop. Now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission has announced that voter registration in the Federal Capital Territory will now be conducted at the ward level, while online pre-registration will be suspended. In a statement issued on Friday, the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, said the decision aligns with the Commission's policy of devolving registration ahead of major elections, as was previously done before the Edo, Ondo, and Anambra governorship polls. Until now, continuous voter registration was only available at the FCT office and the 6 area council offices. With this new arrangement, physical registration will be extended to all 62 wards of the territory, bringing the total number of centers to 69. The exercise will run from Monday, 29 September to Wednesday, 8 October 2025. Olumekun explained that online pre-registration in the FCT will be suspended from 15 September 2025, noting that applicants who began the process online must complete their registration in person. Online pre-registration without physical completion is invalid, he stressed. He further clarified that registration will end on 8 October 2025 in line with Section 9, Subsection 6 of the Electoral Act 2022, which requires voter registration to close at least 90 days before an election. The FCT Area Council election is scheduled for 21st February 2026. Voter registration will resume after the elections and continue until August 2026 ahead of the suspension of the nationwide continuous voter registration in preparation for the 2027 general elections. The Commission has published the list and addresses of all centers on its website and official platforms. INEC urged eligible residents to take advantage of the opportunity to register, transfer, or update their voter details, but warned against double or multiple registrations, which remain punishable under the law. Olumekun appealed to residents of the Federal Capital Territory to turn out en masse before the deadline, stressing that participation in the process is key to credible elections. The federal government has launched the Renewed Hope Social Impact Interventions Empowerment Program for widows and survivors of gender-based violence in Benue State. At the event held in Makurdi, 20 women agro-entrepreneurs received 1 million naira each, while 100 women got 50,000 naira grant to boost their businesses. 24 survivors of gender-based violence also benefited, alongside donations of 400 bags of rice, 200 wrappers, and clothing. Minister of Women Affairs Hajiya Imam Suleiman Ibrahim said President Bola Tinubu's administration is committed to strengthening women politically and economically. Governor Hyacinth Alia further pledged 500 hectares of land to support women in agriculture, describing the intervention as proof of the federal government's passion for women's development. State officials said the initiative aligns with Benue's women-friendly policies and will restore dignity and opportunities for vulnerable families.
Since inception, Mr. President was very clear about inclusivity. Mr. President's goal is to be able to address women's challenges, economically, politically, and socially. Mr. President last month, a few months ago, launched the social impact intervention for women, children, and families in 774 local government. So we're going to go all over to ensure that we domesticate this program. This program is multifaceted. It will help, in the areas of nutrition, energy transition, and addressing energy poverty for women.
The Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers has suspended its planned nationwide strike against Dangote Refinery's plan to deploy 4,000 compressed natural gas powered trucks for direct fuel distribution. The union had argued the move will strengthen tankers' drivers' jobs and undermine their right to unionize. Minister of Labour and Employment Mohammed Maigari Dangyade confirmed that all parties have been invited to a conciliation meeting in Abuja. He appealed to NUPENG and the Nigerian Labour Congress to give peace a chance, assuring that the dispute will be resolved amicably. Union sources said the strike was suspended out of respect for government intervention pending the outcome of the talks. The Economic Community of West Africa Lassa Fever International Conference began Monday in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The 4-day conference is organized by the West Africa Health Organization. The theme of the conference is Beyond Borders, Strengthening Regional Cooperation to Combat Lassa Fever and Emerging Infectious Diseases. Building on the first Lassa International Conference held in Abuja in 2013, the second edition will feature plenary sessions, panels, workshops, and research presentations. It will also contribute to a regional roadmap focused on improving access to diagnostics, vaccines, and coordinated disease control efforts. The Lassa Fever International Conference 2025 seeks to drive multi-sectoral collaboration and promote long-term solutions for Lassa fever and broader health security challenges. The conference brings together regional and global stakeholders to advance research, enhance preparedness, and strengthen outbreak response across West Africa. The News Agency of Nigeria reports that the first conference held in Abuja in 2019 marked 50 years since the Lassa fever virus was first isolated in a town in Nigeria. The opportunity created by the anniversary of the discovery of the virus is being used to bring researchers and practitioners from across the world together to share and appraise global efforts towards the control of Lassa fever virus disease. Participants at the conference underscored the importance of integrating human, animal, and environmental health perspective for a comprehensive strategy to combat Lassa fever, which stems from the interconnectedness of these factors. There were strong calls to action for increased research in all aspects of Lassa fever, including new diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines, with the aim of improving prevention, response, and control activities. Private health care providers in Lagos say rising electricity and fuel prices now consume about 40% of their operational costs, threatening hospital survival and patient care. Chairman of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Lagos Chapter, Dr. Jonathan Esegen, said the burden of power bills was crippling hospitals. He recounted running a generator all night to serve a patient, spending heavily on diesel at 1,200 naira per litre, only for the patient to be unable to pay. Esegen lamented that despite providing critical services, often at night and to patients with no money, private hospitals face multiple taxes and poor government support. He warned that without electricity subsidies and improved security, the private health sector, which caters to over 70% of Lagos patients, would remain overstretched. The Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria Lagos Annual General and Scientific Conference team, Building Resilient Private Health Centers in Lagos State, is set to hold on September 10th to the 11th. It will feature free glaucoma screening and discussions on brain drain, insurance reform, and survival strategies for private hospitals. We'll take a pause here. Up next are news stories from the bill sector.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Welcome back. Glad to have you join us. And Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the bill sector. The Housing Development Advocacy Network has raised strong concerns over the rising cost of rent and agency fees in the Federal Capital Territory, urging the National Assembly to intervene with urgent legislation to address the growing crisis. In a statement, the advocacy group urged the government to prioritize incentives for developers to construct low-cost housing estates. According to Housing Development Advocacy Network, the FCT is experiencing a worsening housing affordability challenge that disproportionately affects civil servants, artisans, and low to middle income earners. Reacting to the development, Hagen's Executive Director Festus Adebayo noted that beyond high rent, tenants are forced to bear additional burdens such as agency fees ranging from 20 to 25% of annual rent, caution fees, and maintenance charges from quacks. He said this cost consumes a significant share of household incomes, forcing many residents to relocate to distant satellite towns where cheaper accommodation is available. The group further warned that the absence of rent control mechanisms and effective regulatory oversight has allowed for arbitrary rent hikes and exploitative practices in the property market, worsening inequality and fueling social challenges such as homelessness and the expansion of informal settlement. In addition, it urged lawmakers to work with the executive arm of government to address the rising cost of building materials, which significantly drives up overall housing expenses. Housing Development Advocacy Network is a research-driven, non-profit, volunteer, and non-governmental organization dedicated to promoting affordable housing across Africa. In a bold move aimed at regulating tenancy and reducing the high cost of accommodation, Governor Francis Nwufuru of Ebonyi State recently announced a total ban on house and land agency activities. According to the state government, the decision is part of a broader effort to ease the financial burden on tenants and make housing more affordable. This announcement has sent ripples through Nigeria's housing sector, drawing mixed reactions from citizens and industry stakeholders. In response, Housing TV hit the street of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, to gauge public opinion, gather personal experiences with house agents, and explore possible solutions to the issues at hand.
If the agent work or the agent, if government can come in to segment the activities of the agent, at least to see that anybody that want to do an agent work must be a registered member. I think we help. We'll go along to help.
Okay. Like this, I don't welcome this idea of agents. If there's any way government can, maybe anybody that have a building or a property to sell or something, if there's any platform that can pay it, everybody can go there and get it easily. So that if you also to have the money to rent apartment, you now know, okay, this is what I will be paying. Some of them will be charging even more than what the landlord receive. So I don't like that idea.
So it should be a fixed amount. House agent is different from selling of a property or a land issue. House of a thing is a different issue. If I'm having money and I want to buy a land or have to buy a house, it means that I am financially buoyant. But house is something that is a necessity. I need it. So sometimes you accumulate money or gather money that I need a one-room self-contained, and an agent will say, okay, you are taking 10%, out of which money? From my own money again. It means that my money is being short.
You all manner of charges. They will tell you that you want to go to check a house, you will pay for whatever to go and see the place. Even if you like it or not, you have to still pay money on top. And after you are getting the house, you still have to pay another percentage again and all those things. So it is so frustrating, and for me, I think the government should do something on trying to regulate these house agents, because people are so frustrated. People are looking, there are houses to rent, but the way and manner the house agents are going about it has made it look as if there's not even house to rent.
In light of these concerns, many citizens are calling on the government to take decisive steps in regulating the activities of house agents nationwide. Suggestions include the establishment of a governing body to license and monitor real estate agents, ensuring transparency and accountability in the sector. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has approved the issuance of new rights and certificates of occupancy to 374 property owners across 15 streets in Abuja after uncovering illegal land use conversions. The affected owners who altered their properties from residential to commercial or mixed use without approval have been directed to pay a 5 million naira violation fee each within 30 days effective from September 10, 2025. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike won the titles of non-compliant owners. He stressed that sanctions were necessary to curb indiscriminate land use changes that distort Abuja's master plan.
Charge and now charge for conversion. So how can you tell me that? Yes, it's not here.
No, it's not here.
You have to include it.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to leave anybody to go free.
It's okay, sir.
We are looking for money to carry on projects. If you fall into a trap, it's your business. Or if you want us to take back our title, but we are not interested in taking back title. We are trying to raise revenue for the FCT. But if you don't want to take back our title, we'll sell it, we'll still raise money.
On the foreign scene, gunmen opened fire at a bus stop in the outskirts of Jerusalem on Monday, killing 6 people in one of the city's deadliest attacks in recent years. Israeli police said the attackers arrived by car and opened fire at Ramoth Junction, leaving several victims lying on the road and sidewalk. Weapons, ammunition, and a knife were recovered at the scene. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who visited the site, said security forces were pursuing those who aided the attackers. The Israeli military confirmed it had deployed soldiers to assist police in the search and was conducting operation in Ramallah to thwart terrorism. Israel has vowed to unleash a mighty hurricane of airstrikes on Gaza unless Hamas accepts U.S. President Donald Trump's demand to release all hostages and surrender. Residents reported heavy bombardment of Gaza City, with Israeli forces also detonating armored vehicles in the street. The Defense Ministry Israel cast warned Hamas leaders to free the 48 remaining hostages or face Gaza's destruction. Hamas said it was reviewing the latest U.S. ceasefire proposal, which calls for the immediate return of all hostages on the first day of a truce. The group, however, reiterated its position that hostages would only be freed as part of a full end to the war and withdrawal of Israeli troops. The warning came hours before a deadly shooting at the Jerusalem bus stop killed 5 people, an attack Hamas later praised. That's the most you can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Federal Capital Territory voter registration devolved to 62 rears as INEC ends online pre-registration. Federal government empowers widows and gender-based violence survivors in Benue. Wike slams 5 million naira penalty on illegal land conversions. On the foreign scene, Palestinian gunmen kill 6 at Jerusalem bus stop. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social media platforms. Download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and Apple Store to stay connected. I am Flora Oni. Bye for now.